Hi, I'm Louise Gonzaga, certified systemic listening therapist, trained in compassionate inquiry, and the founder of Sonum. So if you know anything about therapies, they're really not your mainstream type of therapies that you would have heard about. So let me just give you a little bit more context about systemic listening therapy and compassionate inquiry. In systemic listening therapy specifically, I work both with children and adults, and we use what we call gated music. So this is with headphones and it is with equipment, and it helps with auditory processing, emotional state regulation, focus. If I work with adults, then a lot of times they'll come to me with things like burnout or depression, some kind of a trauma, and also trouble focusing. If I work with children, then usually it's more language learning type disorders or difficulties, even learning disorders like ADHD, ADD, or even autism and dyslexia. When we use music therapeutically, what we're doing is we're actually training auditory processing, emotional state regulation, and the ability to connect socially also more appropriately with other people. So the beauty of the work that I do is that, especially when it comes to systemic listening therapy, there isn't an age limit. So I can work with children as young as 1 year old, and I've had clients as well into their 80s. So there's definitely a wide range, and there's no limitation when it comes to systemic listening. Compassion inquiry is an approach that is a series of questions that enables us to understand better the beliefs, both conscious and unconscious, that we hold, that color the way in which we see the world and how we interact with other people. So if we find any kind of obstacles in our day-to-day, it is a way of understanding those, bringing more awareness to them, and then enabling us to make more conscious decisions about how we want to show up in the world. For me, the important thing as it pertains to Sonum, regardless of whether you're coming in for systemic listening or compassionate inquiry, the beginning of the experience always starts even at the door. So when anyone who comes to me and wants to work with me, I greet them personally at the door. The space is set up to be a very calming space. So even just coming into a space where you're being welcomed in and where the environment is soft, everything is quiet, everything is done such so that we're actually working on all of the senses at all times, even before you start listening or even before we start with any kind of compassion inquiry. And what is really important to me is that anyone who comes in is accepted exactly as they are. So there's no judgment. You will find an abiding presence that's non-judgmental, that is caring, and that accepts you for who you are. And regardless of where you are on your journey, it is more of a partnership, and it is really just in service of the person who's coming to me, whether they're coming by themselves or with their family. This is where Sonum sets itself apart, because we're walking on this journey together, and we're not giving you the answers. What we're doing is we're helping you to become better regulated, better resourced, more aware, and that is the very thing that you're able to then find within yourself